Thinking, feeling, willing. We've heard that, right? Another form of the Trinity. So a lot of what we're looking at in our outside life, the outer shell of life, is the results of the thinking, feeling process. So that brings us to the question of what to do, right? What to do. But the topic also today is the secret to abundance. So I'm going to tie this into what our guru taught us recently in India. His title is Seva Ratna, the Jewel of Service. And so we've been talking about, if you want to become close to someone, you share interests or you share like-mindedness. And so if you want to benefit from your teachers, you try to develop like-mindedness with them. It develops a sense of intimacy. Doesn't mean your personalities are exactly the same, but your values are similar. You share values. Your personalities may be very different, and that can also complement each other. But you share values. So I want to talk a bit about our values here. What are our values? And a bit about this topic of how you can find abundance in life. And abundance in life isn't just monetary, it's many things. It's in your relationships, it's in your experience. You can have someone who has a lot of money, but who isn't as fulfilled as someone who doesn't have as much. So who has more abundance? The fulfilled, happy person who may or may not have as much money, or the really wealthy person who's disturbed or having bad relationships? Happiness isn't defined just by status and success in life. There's many factors to it. So we're looking for different factors of abundance. But just the original topic is, I can't always guarantee to be exactly on schedule because I'm swept up in the current of my services to my teachers. And that's the direction of my life. And it's hard to balance because there's many things to do. We're publishing books, we're trying to maintain temples and build projects. And the general theme is, when I was just there in India, our guru asked us to, he said, directly, this is a direct quote, he said, if you work together, you can lift up the world. And it sounds like a very, I don't know, what does it sound like to you? It sounds a little bit fantastical. It's a beautiful call to action. For me, it doesn't sound generic or cliche. Generally, people say, uplift the world. But he said, if you work together, you can lift up the world. It gives you a better sense of the weight of the task. Imagine you have to lift up the world physically. It's like, how are you going to do that? So, the idea here is that most people, or many people, are working with themselves as the end goal. And our motivation is to be happy, I will fulfill my desires. And then, in order to fulfill my desires, I will work in the world or try to accumulate the objects of my desires through my work or through my activities. And this caps our potential. This is the main emphasis I want to lead in this talk. Because another teaching my guru gave this year is, he said, if you have a miserly spirit, you'll always effectively be poor. The words he used are, if you have a sin in your heart, you'll be poverty-stricken. But it was more of a state of being, not just what's in your bank account. But he talked about generosity. He said the people who are more generous with their life are the people who receive more abundance. And so this is the main theme I really understand about abundance is, we think of money as this different things, right? Something we earn through our effort or something we possess or have. It's like an energy unit. And we think, how can we use it for satisfying our desires? And that's not the secret to abundance. Right? Whatever we have, how can we use it to be happy? To fulfill our desires? You're limiting your potential to this little tiny amount. Whereas if you reframe your mental paradigm to how can I serve money? So money is, in our Vedic thought and culture, it's a form of the goddess, Shakti. It's Lakshmi. We don't call it money. I remember growing up, I would never call it money. It's like Lakshmi. We'd actually, in like Krishna devotees, we don't call it money, we call it Lakshmi. Isn't that beautiful? Because Lakshmi is the consort of Vishnu and she is the goddess of fortune. So if you think of it, whatever money you have, that's how much Lakshmi you have in your life. That's only one of her forms, and she is described to be very restless. The form of Lakshmi known as money is called chanchal, restless. But, what do you do with the goddess in your life? You don't exploit her, you serve her. So if you think of money as something to serve, if the goddess is happy, she'll spend more time with you. She'll be more present with you. What does it mean to be more present with you? More of her will be present with you. Right? Does it make sense? Like we think of everything in this mundane way. We don't say a gold coin is conscious, but the energy behind it is. Does that make sense? The energy behind it is. And that's why our Guru said, if you're miserly, then what happens? You gradually deplete that energy from your life. It's a law of attraction as well. You have to be, so the thesis of the talk here is, how can you try to be that person that Lakshmi wants to spend time with? Right? Does it make sense? Instead of just trying to go out and conquer the world, change who you are so that the world is more present with you. I know I'm not perhaps speaking this clearly enough. So I'll try to say it in as many different ways as possible. And I'll tie it into the first theme of our podcast talks, all right? So we were talking about, this is the second podcast, we're talking about levels of the Trinity, right? If we're thinking of ourselves as the number one, the numerical one, the integer, then we're trying to attract towards ourselves to enjoy in our life as the center. If we think of ourselves as the alphabetical part of the oneness, it's a very different mind frame. We are not the one, we are part of the whole. As we defined one, it's like O-N-E. One is spelled zero-N-E, O-N-E, right? O-N-E. So we should think of ourselves as part of the whole, not the one. You see what I'm trying to say here? If you're the one, then the abundance you have in your life is very limited. Because it's just whatever you need to enjoy. Your access remains very limited. You look at the people in this world who have billions of dollars at their disposal. It's all engaged in service in the world. They're generally, you think, they're misers, they're hoarding it. No, it's all shares, it's all in the market, it's all spread out, it's all diffused in the universe. They've tapped into being part of the greater whole of life. You see these billionaires, I'm not glorifying the billionaires, but I'm just giving you a perspective. You can see their net worth rise and fall by 100 billion. And here we are worried about our bank statements and this and that, what's in our checking account, a few thousand, 10,000. And you have these billionaires who their accounts rise by 100 billion and fall by 100 billion. Just with the fluctuation of the market. The point is that they're connected to the greater whole of life. And karmically, they had the karma to be tapped into that greater source of energy. And if they misuse it, then the reverse effect will come. Oh, you didn't use it properly? Now you'll be a poverty-stricken beggar in the street. Maybe it's next life, maybe it's this life. Sometimes it's this life. I'll tell you an interesting story. So there's one very, very wealthy businessman in India. This is from the early, maybe the 1920s, a story. Very, very wealthy businessman. And there was one Swami, teacher, who wanted to go meet with him. And the businessman said, I don't have time to meet with you. Give him some money and send him away. He said, no, I've come to talk with you. I want to meet with you. He said, no, I have no time. So he'd say, give him 500 rupees, give him 1,000 rupees, give him whatever he wants and go away. So time and again, over some months, he would go and try to meet with this person. He would never allow him to meet with him. Years later, he went back again to that place. And before, this person was living in this huge factory in the C-suite, And he went there and he saw that the business had closed down. And there was a beggar on the street nearby it. And he asked him, "Oh, do you know what happened to that business?" He said, "Oh, it closed down." "What happened?" "Oh, bankruptcy. Shut down." He said, "Oh, do you know where the man was who was in charge of it? I always wanted to talk to him. He never had time for me. He said, 'Take money, but I don't have time for you.'" He said, "I was that person. I was that person. And you were that person who came to meet with me. Now I have time to talk with you." So they sat and talked for hours and hours about spirituality. You see? So you see, like, these great business people, I'll give you an example, Elon Musk, right? It's like, I think he lost like $150 billion of net worth this year, something crazy like that. $150 billion of net worth. Something, I'm not quoting exactly. These people are tapped into such a greater source of energy. Why? I'm not talking whether he's good or bad. Politically, this is not the topic. Politics is not the topic. I'm talking about energy here. He has a cause he serves and believes in since he was like in his youth, right? He believes in the human species, and he wants to be a multiplanetary species, all this stuff. He has his cause he believes in, and he serves that cause. The cause isn't himself. He's not the number one. I don't know his inner mind. I'm using an example, right? Be part of the greater whole and serve the greater whole. We're not even talking about serving the greater good, right? That's how you go from this very limited mindset and limited thinking towards a greater sense of purpose. And that's also what we're trying to do in our ashram life and in our missionary life. That we are not the end-all, be-all purpose of all existence. The whole world is not here to serve us. It's a very hard mindset to enter because most people, what are we doing? Normal life. What is normal life? Kill or be killed, dog eat dog, little fish eaten by the big fish. That's the law of the jungle. And so most people default to that mentality, and it's, we need to use money for ourselves, we need to have our homes for ourselves. But we see it with our gurus. The gurus who become penniless end up with hundreds of temples. Not all of them, it's not the point. The point is in abundance. But it happens. The people who serve the most receive the most. It's this paradox. Lakshmi Devi becomes happy with you if you want to serve God and serve the world. She says, "Okay, I'll give you a little bit more. Okay, I'll give you a little bit more." It's a question of, are you, instead of trying to collect and accumulate and enjoy it, think, how can I become the person that the universe and the goddess will provide with energy because she trusts us to do good with it? It's using personalism in your life, right? I'm not going to be like a prosperity preacher or prosperity evangelist. It's not my genre. But it is a meditation. I see our teacher in India, like he's constantly just pouring out energy with his life and through his efforts. And people are astounded. How is it possible? He's serving thousands and thousands of people every day. Cooking himself, you've seen it, right? He's cooking himself, he's serving everybody. He doesn't have any big operation, big machine to collect money, and he's not doing the service as a business front to get money. He's doing the service for the sake of the service, right? Money's not the goal. You make money the goal, you're limited. You're like, I am the one. Everything's here to serve me. Everything I get is for myself. You become a black hole in life, sucking everything into yourself. And what happens? The energy of others in the world starts distancing yourself. No. So what we try to do is our Guru's message is, look, if you work together, you can actually lift up the world, he said. It's a beautiful call to action. And we have to start locally, because otherwise it's too much fantasy life. Oh, I'm helping everybody. No. You start with your immediate surroundings. Try to be the person that God and the Goddess are happy with by how you live your life. And one other part of this so this is one chapter of it, you could say. Part 1. Try to be the person that when God looks down on you, he's, oh, what a good person. You know, we did it, we made the right mixture with this person. The elemental combination was like, good. Everyone's good. Everyone's a good child of God. Some are more naughty, some are nice. But everyone essentially is good. That's what our belief is. Every soul is good. So now this is another counterintuitive. So the first counterintuitive principle is the more you don't seek things for yourself, the more you can receive for yourself. Now you have energy at your disposal. Right? I look at my life. For 15 years, I didn't have a penny to my name. Now I'm managing, a temple. And since we bought this place like 5 years ago, we've spent $250,000. Like, I go to Home Depot, $1,000 there, hire this, there, that. It's going, flowing. And I tell people, I've seen it happen so many times. If I have cash, I'm capping what I can get. When I give away the money, even like as gifts to people, I buy gifts for people, spend money, this and that, and all of a sudden it'll just come back. I've seen it exactly like that. Like I've had, whatever's, like if I go somewhere with a certain amount, if I have $850 in my wallet, it's like, if I spend all of it, within like a few days, it comes back somehow. Miraculously, I don't have a job. Like someone gives 50, someone gives 75, I go there, I do a class, it's just like, it remanifests. But if you hoard, it's just, you're telling the universe, you have enough. I have enough. Whatever's with me is mine. It's my precious. But you learn to give, and then Lakshmi says, oh, very good person, good heart. I'll give you more. And it doesn't always happen in an understandable way. It happens in a very mysterious way. But it's a principle in life. You have people who are like very giving, and you may not see it in this life. In future life, they become great kings, great queens, with so much at their disposal. We have great stories of this. We've seen this with people in our lives. We've talked about this with different people. People who lost everything, had nothing, but they were good-hearted, and they were blessed, and now they have everything, and they're not attached to it. So it's a meditation. So this is one side of it, right? This is point 1. Be the kind of person that the goddess of fortune is happy with. There's practical techniques for it. It said that the goddess of fortune leaves your home if your pots are left out and the food dries in them after you cook. Like say you eat your food and you pile up all your dishes in your sink and the food gets dry in them and you don't wash them. It's like these people, they don't like to serve God and love God. They're not clean. It's like people like to be around the people that they're like. So the goddess of fortune is like that. If you live in too much tamas, darkness, mode of ignorance, it's sapping your vitality. It's sapping your energy. There's no cleanliness. There's no clarity. There's no purity. So it's a very simple technique. People have told me this. Like sometimes you cook and everyone's eating the food and then you leave the pots out for a day or two. Oh, I'll wash it in a week. It's like, and all the food's dried and crusty. It's like, I'm not going to come back to that kitchen. It's dirty. These people have no respect. They're cooking for their own stomach. They're not cooking to please and serve God. Everything is connected to energy. This world is all energy. Matter is just energy. Right? If you look at it closely enough, deeply enough, matter is just energy at different speeds, at different states of motion. Right? And God says, I'm omnipresent. How? Through my energy. And the energy is different forms of the goddess. You have to make her happy to have anything in life. And she's a mother. Mother Earth is one form of the goddess. So that means all her children. It's like, I'm not denying the facts of life that you have to look after yourself and your immediate family and your immediate necessities, obviously. But you're limiting your potential. That's all I'm saying. If your only purpose in life is to look after I, me, and mine, your potential is capped. But if you live a different way of life where it's like, my life is for the service of God, my life is for the service of the world, my life is for the service of others, and I start immediately. Like as a householder, my life is the servant of my family. I'm a servant of my children, right? I love them, I care for them. Energetically, the universe responds and knows that. Naturally. So now this is the second counterintuitive thought. All right? And this is all counterintuition. We think the harder we work, the more we achieve, right? Get up early, work hard, go to bed late. More. Burn the candle on both ends. Work hard, play hard. Work hard, play hard, right? People think like that. It's not always the case. Hard work is necessary. Discipline is necessary. But again, it's like, you can work your muscles to the point where they just snap. You can stretch your life to the point that it just snaps. You're again limiting your potential. How much are you going to do alone? It's all IQ, no EQ, no emotional intelligence, no interpersonal interconnectivity. We are limited. You accept it and you recognize we need each other. We care for each other. Be the kind of person other people want to be around, want to live around, want to work with, want to serve with. And that has to be something bigger than yourself. The goal is not your own gratification. The goal is the service of the whole. And we think, okay, if I just work hard enough, I'll achieve it. What are you going to do? You're going to hammer every rock into dust? You're going to build up all the edifices? We say no. There is unlimited energy in the universe. Become the person that is worthy of receiving it. It's not so hard to understand. So you have to learn that we're personifying it, but we'd say that may God, may the goddess, may our gurus be happy with our conscious mentality, our energy focus, how we relate with life. Be part of the whole and work towards good. But it's not just work that's going to get you there. All right? It's the art of well-being, not just well-doing. Everyone thinks if you do more, you can achieve more. If you work harder, you can get more done. It's not always the case. I see here, right? I could say, okay, I did this for years, right? I'm at work all day and night doing construction. And my guru's like, I don't want you doing any construction anymore. Learn to do less and achieve more. Learn to do less and achieve more. Because then you can learn, what am I supposed to do and what can I specifically do to serve the whole? I am not alone in existence. Right now we are not. We are a team. Our Guru said, if you work together, you can lift up the world. He didn't say you can lift up the world. What did the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi would say? If 1 million people learn to do meditation and pray for love, we lift up the consciousness of the world. Our Gurus would say if 1% of the world becomes spiritually conscious, it can save the world. 1% of the world is a lot of people, right? If there's 6 billion people, it's a lot of people, right? 600 million, something like that. I don't know. That's not quite the right. It's 66. Anyway, whatever. The point is, it takes a different way of, I'm going back to the 1 versus the 0, all right? This is like our first podcast topic. We all want to be the 1. I'm saying no. You got to align with Shakti. It's a different mentality of life. If you're the Purush, you're the doer, and I will climb up the mountain and achieve it all. That's a secondary step. The first step is to understand that I am not the doer. I am just part of the great web of life. I'm part of Shakti. I'm a servant of Shakti. Then you wait to understand what is my service, what is my calling. Through that calling, you'll easily be able to maintain your life. So this is the answer to, I understand it's a difficult world and it's a rat race and it's dog eat dog and it's the law of the jungle. We understand that. But you've seen that in your life also. We think if we follow the system, go to school from the age of 5 to learn a career and to do economic development and get a job and pay your mortgage and pay your bills on time and do everything the way they tell you to, and you'll get ahead. That's the sales pitch that keeps you stuck in the matrix of Maya. Right? No matter how much you work, you're still going to stay in that hamster wheel. If you identify with a greater whole, a greater cause, you become part of that greater web of life, and you achieve wholeness, you achieve fulfillment, you achieve happiness. It doesn't erase yourself, right? It fulfills yourself. No one is alone in this world. No one wants to live alone. But we have to act like it. We have to show it. So we have to learn to receive more. The more you're trying to do, the less you can receive. Thank you. You show gratitude. Thank you for everything I have. Thank you for everything I will receive. Thank you. Show gratitude. And whatever else you want to give, I'll be grateful for also. It's not by your efforts. Understand that what you get in life is not just by your efforts. It's by what you are worthy for. We can talk about this even in the highest extent. In the spiritual dimension, the relationships we can receive is, what are you worthy for? How are you molding your consciousness to be that kind of person that God wants to spend time with? That's the goal of bhakti. Become such a person that God wants to spend time with you, day and night. Instead of chasing Krishna, Krishna starts chasing you. We're all playing hide and seek with God. You want to hide and make him seek you out. And it's possible. Bhakti is this thing which will blow your mind. It said that bhakti, part of the stage of bhakti is that you consider liberation to be insignificant. And it's walking behind you trying to serve you. And then the next stage is it attracts the all-attractive. Krishna akarshani chasa. Bhakti has the power to attract the all-attractive. That instead of seeking out God, he's hiding from you, God starts seeking you. God will knock on your door, say, "Oh, will you spend time with me? Will you feed me?" Mother Yashoda, she would put Krishna down and go and stir the pot of milk, and Krishna would cry. Maya, Maya, he would be crying and crying. "Why have you left me?" And Krishna was confused. He said, "I have the power to defeat the greatest demons in existence. I easily defeated Hiranyakashipu, the great demon, as Nara Singh. I easily defeated Hiranyaksha as Varahadev. Ravan, easily Ram defeated. I have so much power, but yet my mother just sat me down and went to stir the pot of milk." And Krishna's there crying and crying. And then to try to show his vengeful spirit, like in a playful way, he went and broke the pot of yogurt, and the whole room filled. She was churning this pot of yogurt, right? Mother Yashoda's churning the pot of yogurt and calling out Krishna's names. And Krishna woke up in the morning, he came and he tugged on her skirt, "Mother, mother, mother." And so she saw he was there, and so she sat down and she began to breastfeed him. God went to his mother because he wanted to drink her breast milk. This is the highest aspect of God, where the soul becomes so worthy that God accepts the soul in the position of his mother. Mother Yashoda is his eternal mother, but the souls can also take on that role and become like a mother and breastfeed Krishna. So instead of trying to achieve that position, I will become the mother of Krishna and I will breastfeed him. That's Putana mentality. Putana, the witch, put poison on her breast. In a previous life, anyway, we won't get too much in the backstory, but in a previous life, she thought, I want God to be my son. I want to breastfeed him. So she had a good desire, but she was actually from a demonic race. And so she thought, I will do it by my effort. Ravan was the same way. Ravan said, I will climb up to heaven. And he tried to build a staircase. He said, no need to worship Vishnu to go to heaven. No need to worship the devatas and please them. By our might we will do it. By our will to power. The will to power makes you at risk of falling into the trap of this misunderstanding of reality that you can all be gods. We cannot be God, but you can be the mother of God. You can be the lover of God. Isn't that nice? Isn't that sweet? This is what the devotees believe. And even if you're taking that position, it's not that you're the mother of God, you're just a little soul, he's God. And yet he accepts you in that position because he wants to have that relationship with you, because you are worthy, because your heart is pure. And that position ultimately will be granted by the goddess, Lakshmi Devi or Shri Radha or Yoga Maya. She will say, oh, this soul is ready. This soul has the right mood. Develop the right mood. Then automatically your actions will align with it. We spend too much time in this world trying to do things. Not enough time trying to develop the right mood. Bhakti is bhav, your mood. Then kriya, then your action. Everyone's too action-oriented, not enough mood orientation. And you're such a doer that you think, I have to do everything. I have to do more japa, do more sadhana, more. You know, our guru would tell a story. He said, there's an interesting doer mentality versus lover mentality. So there's an example of a very wealthy family. Like God's the most wealthy of all families, right? God's family. Very wealthy. Lakshmi Devi is his beloved. And she has thousands and millions of forms. It said, Lakshmi Sahasra Samba. Thousands and millions of forms of Lakshmi are serving Krishna in Vrindavan. So look at Krishna's family, very wealthy. So here's a story of wealth. So the story goes that there was a very wealthy family and they had workers in the house. And the workers worked very hard. But one time they made a really bad mistake and the householder got really heavy on them and fired them. Without second thought, you're fired, get out of here. Find somebody else. They made a really big boo-boo. A little bit later, the householder's own daughter did something way worse. Like something like burned down the kitchen. Something really bad. I was like, oh, Dad, I'm sorry, I said, oh, no problem. Gave her a hug. You're my daughter. See the power of relationship? So what do you want? You want relationship or you want achievement? We'll get to the achievement part. But first you have to understand this principle. How you are related with life itself is important, not just how you exploit life to achieve your abundance. We think of the world like this big orange that we ought to get all the juice out of. You're sucking out your own life because you're part of it. You're part of the great web of life. And you imagine when 99.9% of the earth's children are seeking their own needs and gratification. Imagine what happens for the 0.01% people, or the 0.1% people who are seeking out the good of the whole. Mother Earth then says, oh, you're a partner. You know what? I'll give this, now I'll jump into king theology, king energy. Said the kings are described to be like the husbands of the earth. The property of the earth becomes the property of the king. Why? Because they are qualified stewards of the land. It said the earth is like a bride, and all she is looking for is someone who is worthy to receive what she has to offer. Who isn't a rapist or a demon, right? It's not that she doesn't want to give. That's her nature, Shakti. But you have to come to that point, and that's why it's always described that it's the incarnations of the Godhead who are her husband, the husband of the earth. And everyone else is just a child or a steward. But the king energy is described to come from God. It's like one little particle of God's energy comes and it manifests in the righteous king. And what do they have? The bona fide, not the tyrant, not the exploiter, not the usurper, the one who had said, like when Lord Ram was king, it said the world all rejoiced. The whole world rejoiced. Why? Because everyone is looking for righteous, harmonious order. But what is that principle? The Father who gives fertility and blessings to the land and to the people. Right? Who is not, and it's just an energy. And when that energy leaves you, you're just an ordinary person. You'll die like everyone else dies. But you symbolically represent that and serve that energy. And now what have you done? You've tapped into the greater whole. Because the goal of your life is not yourself anymore. The goal of your life is now the good of others. Now you receive more. Mother Earth then says, oh, finally, there's someone who is on my team. You know, you see like mothers, if you have, imagine your Mother Earth, and you have billions of humans as children, and then you also have to look after the interest of trillions of other creatures. You know what our Guru would always say? He said, as human beings, we're very proud and vain. We think we're the only children of the earth, and animals and birds don't have any right to air and to land and water and to life. That they're all just for our enjoyment. Our Guru would always talk about that, especially when he would do universal religion talks. He would talk about non-sectarianism and interfaith, and then whenever he had his little input to add, he would say, are the birds and animals also not creatures of the earth? Do they not deserve to live and have a chance to be happy in this life? Are they only there for you to slaughter and put in your slaughterhouses and enjoy? He said, this kind of mentality, if the more people buy into this, the more the earth sinks into darkness. You know, imagine if every town there's a slaughterhouse. No one likes that. Everyone likes getting the packaged food. Every slaughterhouse is what? It's the end result of it, which is the grocery store. There's a slaughterhouse, there's the packaged production line of the slaughterhouse in every grocery store. And, life is a difficult thing, and, life is eating itself, and so it's not that we expect everyone to become vegetarian. But there's a holistic way even that can be done. And it's not through slaughterhouses. There's a holistic way that even meat can be consumed. We look at the native traditions would do it. Native American people would do it like that. They would honor the earth. When they slayed an animal, they would offer prayers to it and respect it. And then they have Buffalo Bill, and what do we do? Kill all the buffaloes so that he would kill the food of the Native American people and destroy that whole race and consume the earth and just be this, right? This machine of consumption with no care whatsoever for the consequences of it. And what does it do? It ends up turning you into this demonic person who thinks that, right, you become a demon in real time. That's shapeshifters. You can see how people shapeshift in life. The more your consciousness lives out that mentality of pure exploitation, you transform in real time, in real life, you shapeshift into a demon. And what happens in the end of it? I'll give you one more story about this. So our Guru told a story, said there was so many stories about this, but anyhow, I'll just tell you the essence of it. There's a person, there was like a funeral procession. 2 funeral processions in one day. One funeral procession, everyone's like hurling insults and throwing rotten tomatoes and cabbage. Was that, and someone was saying, was it a good person or not? It's like, if everyone's dancing in the street for joy when you die, chances are you weren't just serving the greater good in life. Now, this is a complicated topic. Sometimes, the servants of the greater good aren't understood. Or sometimes, and there's another point of it, is sometimes your service to the world, it's not that you're doing it to be seen. You may make such a small, beautiful difference that, like a butterfly effect, it can lead to great change. And you can be, obviously unsung heroes. But the example was given, if your family, your immediate surroundings, if nobody loves you, if everyone is happy that you died, chances are, more likely than not, you are not a very good person. Right? And then there's another example, someone was dying and the whole city turned out in tears and to celebrate that person's life. What's the difference? One person is shape-shifting into a demon, and one person is shape-shifting into a saint. It's not so complicated. But we have to make that gradual incremental change. It's a gradual incremental change. So this is the first half, all right? Now I won't go too much longer. Instead of trying to do more, be worthy of receiving more. And there's no limit to what you can receive. There's a huge limit on what you can do. There's an infinite limit on what you can do in your life. But there's no limit on what you can receive in life. None. But now there's the next part of this. We're not advocating laziness. Because part of what I'm saying is be better, and if you need to do less, then sometimes you have to do less to be better. But it's not about doing less. Right? This is this last part of this the topic. It's about doing less necessarily of what you want, of your ego, your self-interest. This is the secret of you want Mother Earth to give you more, you want the universe to give you more. Spend some time meditating on what the earth wants or needs, what the universe wants or needs, what God wants or needs from you. And your gurus can respond and help you understand that. It's said that even your soul and the super soul can give you that intelligence. And this is the trick to it. When you get that knowledge, you have to have the courage to act on it. And say that, you know what? This body is just my servant. I'm not the servant of the body. So I'll end with this idea, because you have to be willing to take action. It's a very, it's the hardest thing to do. I know this from my own life. The hardest thing to do is to surrender and then to do what you're asked with the courage and the motivation as if it's your own desire. It's very difficult. But there's secret to sweetness and love and abundance in doing it. And the guru or the universe or God never gives you something that's not going to fulfill you or be your purpose. My guru is telling me, always preach and publish as much as you can. Publish and preach. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about it. Don't manage, he said. So now it's all your job to manage. I've been released from it. So if I do it, I'm going against his instructions. So now you're in charge. Go for it. Enjoy. I have to go to the city and go pick up people and do this and organize this and do that. And okay, you're all in charge of the temple now. Done. Take up the responsibility. That means, when you're ready to receive from the universe, because you're a good enough person to receive, then you get responsibility. Now your action is aligned with God's will, and all of God's power is ready for you to receive. Does it make sense? Become the person that God can engage in service. Then you're ready to receive the instructions of God and all of his power at his disposal, according to what you need at what time. He's not going to give you too much, because great power is very dangerous. So it will be given in a microdose. But it's available. You have to understand it is available. Don't think of yourself as the one not connected to anything. You are part of the whole, part of the one. It's a better way to approach life. It's our vision, it's our way. Then you receive responsibility. At a certain point, you'll cross over the need to get day-to-day instructions, and you'll know and you'll use your own intuition, your own intelligence, and you'll fulfill the desires. You can serve God in that way. You can serve gurus in that way. But you have to accept that as a paradigm in your life. The paradigm in your life becomes, how can I please God? That's the secret of bhakti. That's how you get to be at such a stage of life where he's like, I want to hang out with you. I want to spend time with you. I want to play with you. I want to talk with you. Right? You're one of my favorite children. Not that he plays partiality. He says, I'm equal to everyone. But I reciprocate with them according to how they react with me, relate with me. That's fair. God says I'm fair, equal, and just. So it wouldn't be fair, equal, and just from God to not reciprocate with you, for there not to be any form of meritocracy. Does it make sense? For the people who are the most ready to relate with him in the most beautiful way, he relates with them in the most beautiful way. But the paradigm in their life becomes, oh, Krishna, how can I please you? And I like to tell this to people sometimes. We think, oh, I should work to please myself. You're just a tiny little speck of existence, tiny speck of consciousness. How much are you going to please yourself? How capable is God of pleasing you compared to how capable are you of pleasing yourself? Right? How much can you please yourself? Like we think, okay, right now, if we all make the goal, all right, our goal in life now is to make ourselves as happy as possible by only our own efforts. And each of us go and for the next month, make ourselves as happy as possible. And ask everyone else to help you do it. Make me happy, make me happy, make me happy. It's very limited. You're going to run out of ideas pretty quick. It's like, I ate enough ice cream. I didn't get enough. I had enough this enjoyment, that enjoyment, that enjoyment. I'm still not happy enough. The happiest you'll be is when you're in relationship and love with others. And that can reach the highest extent of love for God and love with God, and then being able to see God in everything and then love with everything. And then you go higher and higher and higher and higher until you reach our topic for tomorrow night, which is the love of Radha Krishna and the interrelation with them. Look at Manjari Bhav even in that context. We're giving up our self-interest to the point where we don't want to be Krishna's lover. That we want to serve Srimati Radhika and arrange their meetings so that their love and their union is perfected. And then what happens from that? It's reverse psychology. You get to experience their love to the ultimate conclusion. It's unlimited. The amount of love you can experience with God is limited because you're just a limited soul. The amount of love that Radha Krishna can experience is unlimited because they are the unlimited soul. You understand? Radha and Krishna are the infinite soul. Plug into their consciousness, their service, their reality. Experience infinite bliss, infinite love for infinite time. Instead of limiting yourself. I will be Krishna's girlfriend. I will be Krishna's mother. I will be Krishna's father. It's like, that's such a limited mentality. I will serve the love of Radha Krishna. I will act in such a way to facilitate their meeting. And you can get that position? They need someone to arrange their Yugal Vilas. Now we're getting into Yugal Vilas topics, but that means their loving union in the Kunjas of Vrindavan. One of the reasons they experience Parakiya Ras, you could say, is to give the Jivas a chance to facilitate their meeting. We're living entities, right? We're very small, tiny little living entities. What can we do? And if Radha Krishna are always in wedded love, they don't need anyone to arrange their meeting. It's a very intricate topic, but we say Radha Krishna here, this is not where they're married. They're surrounded with Lalita Vishaka Rupa Rati. They're facilitating their secret union, their secret meetings. This place is where Radha Krishna are not married. But their marriage is of a higher order. Understand? Their marriage is of the highest order, the marriage of pure love. The marriage beyond need for marriage. This topic goes all the way up to Manjari Bhav. Right? For people who want to be in that position of Srimati Radhika, that's our Guru's speciality. The opportunity to be in the most intimate service for Radha and Krishna. They'll send out all their other friends, but yet the Manjaris get to serve there directly in their union, in their meeting. Because they feel no difference with them. They feel like you're my own, part of my own body. You become such a deep sense of intimacy with them. So we're going to talk about this a lot more tomorrow. But our position of our Guru is that, see, the more you become selfless to God, the more you achieve your self-interest. But the trick is that you can't be in it for your self-interest. It's this paradox. You have to accept, surrender to the point of, like our Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj would say, you're taking a leap of faith into the unknown. Like, God, I offer myself completely in your service. But we'll talk about this more tomorrow. I'll mention one thing. Don't surrender to Krishna. Okay? Our Guru would say, if you surrender to Krishna, he may trick you or cheat you. He may bribe you. He may, why do you want to come to be with me in Vrindavan? You'll have to make cow dung patties. You'll have to, boil milk and churn yogurt. You should be a queen in Dwarka. It's better. Why do you want to come to Vrindavan? Or you know what? Even being a queen in Dwarka is not so great. You can be like a Narayan and have your own planet in the spiritual planet abode. You can have your own planet in the spiritual world and you can be like Narayan. So if you go to surrender to Krishna, you may say, you know what? You should still try to be number one. You're going to the number one, and if you still have any seed of the desire to be the number one, the number one, not part of the whole, right? The one is Shakti Tattva, not Krishna Tattva. And Krishna Tattva and Shakti Tattva are one and different. But when you think of the one that includes Jiva Tattva, includes Shakti Tattva, includes the Prakriti Tattva, the material energy, includes the spiritual energy, that version of the one is not, it's Krishna and it's not Krishna. It's Krishna through his energy. It's more directly Shakti than not. You understand? It is Krishna, but it's Krishna through his Shakti. Okay? It's fire through its light and heat. It's energy and they're energetic. You're trying to go to God as the Purush, the integer, the one. And so he'll test you. No. Why do you want to come to Vrindavan and make cow dung patties? You should get your own planet where you get to play God. And God is so great and so unlimited that he can easily give you a planet to play God in. Wouldn't that be cool? It's like, you get to play God in the material universe as Brahma, and you can play God in the spiritual universe as, Samipya Mukti, Sarupya Mukti, right? But our Raghunath Das Goswami would say, Api Tyaktva Lakshmi Patirate Mito Vyoma. I have no interest for the opulence of Vaikuntha. I have no interest in, Lakshmi Pati Narayan. None. Why? They're not surrendering to Krishna. You surrender to Srimati Radhika. She's the only one you can completely trust with your well-being. That's the leap of faith you can do and never be worried that, she will be there to catch you. That's what our Guru would say. She is mercy personified. The triumvirate of mercy. Karunam, Karumai, Karuna, Bharitre. You approach Srimati Radhika through her lineage, you're in perfect care. Krishna may trick you or cheat you if you are still trying to be him. Because he doesn't want more versions of Krishna in his... Like, if everyone gets to enjoy their own experience of reality through their free will and try to run material existence, samsara, to be in the liberated abode, be independent from Krishna. But in Vrindavan, that's Krishna's own little home. God also deserves his own place. You understand? Makes sense, right? God also deserves to have his own little sacred land. That's called Vrindavan. And that's where Krishna is God, not you. You understand? Okay? So if you want to be God, you don't get to be in Vrindavan. And he's not cruel, so he said, okay, play there, play there, play there, play there, play in Samsara, play over there. But if you want to be in Vrindavan, you have to give up that mentality. You give up that mentality where you are the integer, where you are the one. Krishna, I am just a simple, humble servant of Srimati Radhika. And instead of trying to even be your girlfriend or your lover or your beloved or your friend, I just want to be her maidservant. Very small. Like we say, the tiniest flower in all existence. Right? I just want to be the tiniest flower in all existence serving Radha Krishna. And they accept the role of the Parikya Rasa they're enjoying. But one thing about Parikya Rasa, that means the indirect paramour love, it is facilitating the jiva, the soul, having some role to play in their love, in their union. In so many ways, we'll talk about it more, but in so many ways you can serve in that and experience that and relish that rasa. So it's a very esoteric, complex topic. This does not say, don't take action or don't be, heroic in your efforts. It's actually the truth of it, right? Because otherwise it's denying the role for the masculine side of things like get it done in life, do or mood. We're not denying that. We're saying to be a true hero, you have to be a servant of God and serve God's will and give all your efforts to that. I'm saying learn to receive the instruction, and you can do it through your guru's lineage. You can realize it in your super soul, from the super soul in your soul, in your heart. And if it's aligned with the good and goodness, then you can act towards it. But then you have to develop the discipline and the courage that if your soul gives you an instruction or your guru's giving you instruction, you say, I will give the last ounce of my energy to fulfilling that. Then your energy, you realize it's not your own. Your energy is Shakti Tattva. So she said, now you're trying to fulfill Krishna's desire or Guru's desire. Here's more, here's more, here's more, here's more, here's more, here's more, here's more. Until it lifts you. And the more you're receiving that energy, the more you're being lifted up and lifted up and lifted up and lifted up until one day you're lifted up all the way into the land of Vrindavan. So that is our philosophy of abundance. What's more abundance than being with Radha Krishna forever, serving them? What more abundance can there be than that? That thousands of goddesses of fortune are sweeping the pathways of Vrindavan. This is how it's described by Lord Brahma. Thousands of goddesses of fortune are sweeping the pathways in Vrindavan. And we have a chance to serve Radha Krishna there. But it's a paradigm shift in life. Paradigm shift in life. You align your life with the current of the desire of Srimati Radhika through her disciplic succession. You align your life with the desire of Srimati Radhika through the current of your lineage. And then you use, the mandris are not lazy, they're very active. But it's action oriented towards action and anugatya. To the point where you become qualified to even give anugatya. Because now you've become tadatmika. It means one at heart. Right? You become one at heart. Then you're accepted as one in essence. When you become one at heart, you become one in essence. Our Guru would say, you want to serve me? You can't use your hands, you have to use my hands. This is an instruction he told me. You want to serve me? Because he asked me to dedicate my life to him when I was a kid, 10. Become a monk, serve me your whole life, serve the mission. Don't look for your own gain. Give your life for my service. But he said, okay, you can't use your hands, you have to use my hand. The point is, you get an opportunity if you align yourself with their desire, you become one with their desire. And that can reach a stage where they have so much trust in you, they can say, your hands are my hands. You are my fruit. Right? It's a constant reaffirmation, a constant process, but it is part of the special potential of this. And it requires a paradigm shift. We are all stuck in this Darwinian evolution. We have to understand that. And to lift up the world, you have to change your consciousness. You have to change your consciousness. That you're not walking around as a predator in life. A predator on energy, a predator on the earth. Right? You're walking around as not weak, even more strong. Right? What is a predator doing? A predator is out there thinking, I want to eat this for my own good. Right? What is a good person doing? I will protect, I will serve. To protect and serve. So we're praying for our Guru's mercy. We're praying to be engaged in this line. It's a very beautiful life that's possible. But it requires that thinking, feeling, willing. The thought process has to also be there. We can't just be in our feels. We've talked a lot about feelings, and it's very important. But thinking, feeling, willing. You create your reality by your thoughts. Then you will it into being. So what we're saying is, don't try to be the one, be part of the whole. serve the good of the whole. And start in your immediate surroundings, your circle of influence, with your family members, with your friends. Our Guru would say, love Krishna and love everyone. Seeing Krishna essence within their heart. Seeing him as the super soul. Even your enemies. Seeing Krishna as the super soul even within your enemies. It's a paradigm shift. And then you think, how can I please God today? How can I please Srimati Radhika today? And we all have, as long as we're alive, it means we have energy. Energy may even just be the mental energy. So we can lay in bed and do it. We can fall asleep and do it. You can, if you have that mindset, you can do it 24 hours a day. For you, sleeping becomes seva. Everything becomes seva because you've aligned yourself with that Shakti Tattva. You say, Krishna, I don't want to be you. I want to serve your Shakti. Krishna loves his Shakti. And now you say, okay, I'm not going to be Purush, I'm going to be Shakti. So Krishna, he loves everyone. But he especially loves those who are interested in reciprocating love with him. Understand? God loves everyone. But he can show his love to you to the degree you want to reciprocate it with him. If you want to be him, then it means you want to enjoy the love of things separate from him. You understand? That leads you to Maya. You enter into Maya illusion. Because you say, I am God. It's just a mentality. We're using big words. But I am the enjoyer. And I want to enjoy everything in this world. But you can't enjoy God on that level as the enjoyer. You can enjoy God as in a relationship according to truth. And you are not the supreme enjoyer. We're not saying you don't enjoy. But if you can transition towards that Shakti mentality, I'm here to be enjoyed by God. Is that not enjoyable enough? It's most enjoyable. Because then if I please him, he's happy. And he's much more capable of pleasing you than you are pleasing yourself. That's the essence to understand. God is much more capable of pleasing you than you are pleasing yourself. And don't surrender to Krishna, surrender to Srimati Radhika through her lineage. Then this is how Krishna becomes mad after you. Why? It said, Krishna is Madan Mohan, all attractive, the bewilderer of even Cupid. The whole world is attracted to Krishna, one way or the other, directly and indirectly. But yet he is attracted to Srimati Radhika. That's why when we say Hare Krishna, Hare means she who attracts, he who attracts everyone. That's the meaning of Hare. So if you say Hare Krishna, what you're saying is, I serve Shri Radha, who is she who attracts he who attracts everyone. So now when you take shelter of her, then you can progress through bhakti to the point where Krishna is attracted, then you're flipping it and you're Krishna's playing hide and seek with you. We see this with the Vaishnavas. Krishna is always trying to, meet with the Vaishnavas, talk with the Vaishnavas, speak with the Vaishnavas. I can tell you so many stories about this. Maybe we'll save it for tomorrow again. But this is how it works. This is how this reality works. So if we enter it, it becomes more sweet. It's a different way. Everyone else can go and try and enjoy the world and be great gods. But it's a better way in life, in our understanding. It's a more connected way. Our Guru said if you work together, we have to understand what together means and how to relate with each other in a way that people want to be together. Together, not one gather. Okay? You have to be together, not one gather. And it's a mentality that one person wants to be with you in life, then two people want to be with you in life, then three people, because you're that person that uplifts. So that is our aspiration. That's why we're called Bhaktbandhav. We believe in friendship, in devotion. It's useless if you think, I want to serve Krishna, but not any of his devotees. Then you're not his devotee. Krishna said, when you're the devotee of my devotee, then you're my devotee. And our Gurudev would say you should be the friend of the devotees. And Prabhupada's name is the friend of even the most fallen who are not devotees. Patitu Udharan Bandhav. That means the friend who uplifts the fallen. That's the title given to him in Diksha. The friend who uplifts the fallen. And then Gurudev is the friend of the devotees. So this is the mentality. If we don't want to have friendship towards, that doesn't mean if they're my friend, I'm their friend. That's not friendship. It's one form of friendship. I'm their friend even if they're my friend or not. That's friendship. Because then people can gain trust in you that, oh, when I'm in need, you'll be my friend. Not just when I'm happy. Oh, this person is happy and bubbly, so I'm their friend. And when they're upset, now I'm not their friend. That's selfishness. Pure, unadulterated selfishness. Real friendship means when you're down, I want to help you up, not keep you down. And it's not easy. That's why it takes nobility. It takes great courage. You have to become a real hero. But then you become a selfless warrior for love. You get beyond even the need to be a hero. Whatever I need to do, I will do that. So this is our prayer. We're the opposite of pacifists, but we need to learn to be more receptive. Right? We're the opposite of pacifists. We're not pacifists, but we're saying you can't do it on your own and you can't really do anything because everything is done by energy. And energy is God's energy, and God's energy is the goddess. So you can't do anything without her permission. You can't lift your finger without her mercy. Without Radharani's mercy, you can't breathe. And because the goddess is also the mother, and Mother Earth, and Mother, and so on and so forth, but it's all coming from the one form of Shakti. It's all coming from Shakti Tattva. So you should understand you can't breathe without the happiness of life. When your life airs leave you, you're dead. So you can't do anything without Shakti. So if you want abundance, learn to serve Shakti. Learn to serve Shakti. I am your servant. What can I do to serve? How can I serve today? Radhe Radhe. Gaur Premanandi.